Alright, studio time check is 9:31. Today is day 31 in the month of January 2020. Interestingly, the month of January is gradually coming to an end today. Just like yesterday, we're saying Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And interestingly, it shows that time waits for no one. I mean, just like yesterday, we're saying Happy New Year, welcome to 2025. And interestingly, today is the last day in the month of January 2020, meaning that the first month is gone out of
Certainly.
2025, meaning we have barely
11 left.
11 months left. That means
And February is only 28 days.
28 days. That means time waits for nobody. So
Tick-tock.
whatever you have planned to achieve this year, 2025, get the ball rolling. With that, I say welcome to From the Dailies on Solutions 93.9 FM. My name is Ade Damala, laughing with so much excitement coming with the weekend. Thank God it's Friday. I say welcome once again and good morning to Comrade Ayodeji Chokwe, who is right next to me in the studio.
Good morning to you, my dear comrade brother, and of course, and I say to the Muslim faithfuls, Barakah Juma.
Barakah Juma.
And of course, the boys and girls out there.
Thank God it's Friday. Okay, it's From the Dailies where we get to take you through the front pages of our national dailies. And this morning, I have about 4 newspapers. I have the Vanguard, I have the Guardian newspaper, the Nigerian Tribune is here, and the Punch newspaper. In a short while, we'll be looking at the stories on the front pages. Stay tuned. All right, taking my first shot at the Vanguard newspaper this morning. The biggest story says telecoms tariff hike. NLC mobilizes state councils, allies, affiliates for February 4 protest. And riders under that caption, Serap writes NCC over pending suit against the tariff hike. Another one says hike places additional burden on masses, LCCI. NCC to engage NLC, Serap, NatComs to explain reasons for price adjustment. Alleged cybercrime, Showore gets 10 million naira bail. Page 7 has that story as well. And moving away from that particular story, LG Autonomy, chairman not yet directed to open accounts. Investigation. I mean,
You know who said this Monday?
yeah, we said it's on Monday.
That it's apparently the state governors.
It's more of it's becoming like a delay tactics.
Directed by who? Apparently the chief executives of the state.
Definitely.
And if you don't open the accounts,
And the chairman are saying that they are yet to be directed to open the
By-
accounts by the governors.
by the governors, and they need those central bank accounts so that the CBN can track. It's not as if they don't have other accounts.
And until these accounts are opened, the LG funds will keep going into the purses of the governors.
And woe betide any local government chairman that goes ahead to open
We'll say they are in a dilemma, kind of
self-inflicted.
dilemma. All right, moving away from that, diaspora remittances up 79% to $4 billion in 9M24. Cardoso. Okay, insecurity, let me take this again. Insecurity. How Asaba became home to Southeast indigents. Let me quickly run through the remaining stories here. Banks comply with court ruling lifting experte. Moreover, okay, let me take that again. Banks comply with court ruling lifting experte. Moreover, order against GHL.
That's what do you call Umduka's complaint.
Yeah. And another one, no likely survivors in U.S. plane crash as 30 bodies are pulled from river.
That icy waters.
The icy water. 11 reposition NRC for socioeconomic. Okay, let me take that again. Yeah, let me take that again. I will reposition NRC for socio-economic growth. Okpaifa, okay, it's Okpaifa. Page 10 of the
The new
Vanguard
MD.
newspaper has that story. Now, taking a look at the Punch newspaper, talking about the PDP never ending crisis, like I would like to call it. PDP crisis. Stakeholders demand Wike Bauchi governor truce as governors meet today. And the rider, Fubara's camp wants Damagum kicked out as chairman. Opposition governors converge on Asaba. Another story, South Africa Rwanda clash over DR Congo conflict. Herdsmen kill 5 laborers on Ondo farm. Lagos Assembly insists Obasa's removal legal as TSS grills lawmakers. I mean, this particular issue, talking about the Lagos State Assembly, the aftermath of the impeachment of Mudashiru Obasa as the speaker, is beginning to generate some other, I don't know, tentacles. I mean, DSS grilling some members of the House.
Well, you don't be surprised, and let's keep our ears to the ground. Whatever happens to the DSS, either the state director or the men that are doing this, you know. But when we get there,
All right, when we get there. Another story, domestic shortfall. NNPC marketers import 633 million liters of fuel. 67 dead as plane helicopter collide mid-air in U.S. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. A
well,
plane
one of those
helicopter
freak.
colliding
Yeah, that's one of those freak
in the
accidents.
air.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's happened in Nigeria. It's one of those freak accidents. I remember one fighter jet collided with a Boeing aircraft in Kano. Yeah, those who are returning from Hajj, a military aircraft.
Okay, let me take 2 more stories from here. APC PDP differ over Amechi's power drunk politicians' comment. And the last one, banks complied with court ruling on Experte Moreva order, GHL. Still from the dailies on Solutions 93.9 FM, and the Nigerian Tribune front page has their stories. Presidency, El Rufai trade words over governance opposition, and riders, be ready to defend your vote. Amechi tells Nigerians, says politicians kill, maim to remain in power. We owe survival of our democracy to people's resilience. Abdul Salami, pages 3 and
Amechi
13.
should know. He's from Rivers.
Yeah, pages 3 and 13.
And the Rivers
have that
Axis
story.
is notorious for
Definitely, that's he's saying that
cultism and all of that.
politicians kill, maim to remain in power, and it's not only peculiar to that side. It's becoming a general theme,
It is. It is a general thing.
holding on to power at all costs. Okay, moving away from that, banks comply with court ruling lifting Experte Morova order against DHL. Appeal court affirms order proscribing IPOB as terrorist group. Immigration intercepts 21 minors illegally taken out of Nigeria. And another one, Owa Igbajo, court nullifies Adeleke's executive order on Famodun's Famodun's removal. Another one says Labour proposes 5% increase, gears up for February 4 protest over telecom tariff hike. And the last one I would like to take, it says DSS grills Lagos lawmakers over Obasa's removal. Lawmakers released after hours of interrogation. And the last newspaper I have with me, Mission 300 by 2030. Optimism as West African cities get $50 billion lifeline. Fresh bid for electricity. Another one, tax reform bills. Lamido Galadima reopen anti-North rhetoric with inheritance tax. Cardoso says Naira reverting to true value as confidence returns. Okay. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that.
No, we don't pay inheritance tax here.
inheritance tax.
Yeah, I mean, your father passes 10 billion down to you, you just pay some, and of course they will always undervalue, and then the inheritance tax, you get 10 billion, and then you just enjoy life. You don't pay.
All right, another one. Atiku faults Tinubu's harassment as Amity warns of power cling. And the last one, appeal court affirms IPOP's prescription on ESN's fourth anniversary. It's from the dailies on Solutions 93.9 FM. Comrade Ayodeji Chokwe, without wasting much of our time, let's go straight to the stories. And the first one I'd like us to talk about is this NLC's brouhaha with the telecoms regarding to the tariff hike. According to the Vanguard newspaper, it says NLC mobilizes state councils, allies, affiliates for February 4 protest. And come to think of it, personally, I'm thinking that is NLC not taking this? Why? I don't really know. Why is NLC so concerned about the tariff hike? We've had so many other increments from various sectors that NLC has not given it this kind of drive. All of a sudden, they are calling for protests again come February 4. What do you make out of all this?
Number one, the very first thing you should watch out for is NLC is not the only labor center. You have the TUC, and I spoke at a point in time, and I was sent, copies of letters that, correspondence that transpired between NLC and TUC regarding some actions NLC took independently and was asking for the buy-in of the TUC. And TUC says, no, you're not going to take decisions and act on it and then ask for a buy-in. In short, it's a reflection of the composition of the two labor centers, and it is patently clear that TUC is way more refined in its strategies than NLC, led by Joe Ajero, which looks like, operating like the NURTW tactics, and I make bold to say that. So this is about tariff increase. What are the issues? The issues, number one, there has been no tariff increase in the past 12 years.
12 years, yes.
I don't know how that happened. It should never have happened. I mean,
why did you say so?
For God's sake, in this country, 12 years, no increase in tariff? Who does that? Anywhere in the world, can you have a stable tariff for 12 years? Certainly not. Not anywhere in the world, if it is marginal. Now,
and that must have been to the detriment of the telecoms.
Yes, I recall that about 2 years ago, the telcos decided to tweak their tariff, and within the space of 2 weeks, the regulator NCC pounced on them and demanded a reversal. Without notice, they just tweaked their tariff, and then they went back to status quo. And 12 years, if it was 3%, 5% increase, it will not be significant enough for us to, pay attention. Nigerians, we just shrug our shoulders and move on. And considering the fact that the Naira has been devalued to the tune of 400, sometimes 500% over the past 24 months. And then considering also the fact that the telecoms industry is dollar denominated more than 85% of their input. And you bring in $1 million into Nigeria, not necessarily as cash, but in terms of infrastructure investment, and then you want to repatriate your funds. $1 million you brought in has become 250,000 naira by the rates from 400 to 1,600. So your 1 million has become 250,000. So how does business survive on that? And they're asking for 100%. Believe you me, ordinarily, you will say because it is the naira devalued. If you say that 100%, it is simply 25% real time, because we have to know the difference between real time and those percentages, what it represents. 100% simply represents 25%, and this 50% simply probably represents or up more than 10%.
Which is quite reasonable.
Very reasonable.
But the NLC and other, I think the SERAP and the rest are clamoring for a 10% increment. How possible is that?
I ask, if NLC had bidded in the early days, which they could have bidded for a license, and they're in this business, would they be suggesting this? If NLC had decided, bidded and got a license, and they are in this business, would NLC be saying no? What? And we should ask ourselves, when an athlete of NLC started increasing the cost of transportation in this country, in this Nigeria, what did NLC do to the athlete?
Why didn't we see NLC doing this when the pump price of petrol were going up and down the other time?
Okay, yes. What did they do?
They kept quiet.
Well, they said the president betrayed NLC.
And that was it.
And then an athlete, the National Union of Road Transport Workers. Why did NLC say, please be considerate? What did NLC do to Manufacturers Association of Nigeria? And why couldn't they do anything? Because they know the cost of production, you understand? The cost of production and the cost of providing the services. So what's different?
What's different from the one with the telecos?
So what's different from the telecos? You understand? And it's not as if there are at least two of them. Even the third one, it is only, and even the fourth one that is actually number one is on the stock market. You understand? So it's a public company owned by Nigerians. Look, do you know what the telecos are saying? No problem. We'll be shedding load like NEPA does. And then you know that what they start doing? If there are cell sites, they will just say, okay, we'll be providing service to the areas where we make money. You understand? They start providing services to all those villages and hamlets where you have services. They say, how much are we making that you will be putting, how much are you going to be making that you'll be providing service in a place 24/7, you are running generator? 2 generators. You must have a minimum of 2 generators. And you cannot run a generator 12 hours every day for more than 2 years. They must not cough. You understand? So, they will just say, okay, we shed. Just like, what do you call them? The discos are saying, we provide power to those who are consuming high volumes of, not you that we just put 110, all these small, 10 watts, 5 watts bulb. The little we have, we provide for those who pay, tariffs that are reflective of service. So why should we provide you with service? So it's as simple as that. So I just don't understand the rationale, the logic, and even the common sense
behind it.
Believe you me.
And this agitation.
I just don't understand it. I just can't figure it out.
But I want to read something from, according to Sarah. They said Ike places additional burden on masses. LCC, there's a Lagos Chamber of Commerce.
If you read the position of LCC, it's like LCC used the 2 flips, put additional burden on the people, but ensure sustainability of the telecom industry. That's the other side. The newspaper is just, if you read the story, it says puts additional burden on the people, but assures sustainability. Isn't sustainability key?
It is very key. It is very key. Okay, let's move to another story just under that. Alleged cybercrime. Sowore gets 10 million naira bail. Now, what is the offense of Omoyele Sowore?
Well, that's what he said. He calls the IGP, he calls him an illegal IGP. That's his crime.
Okay, well, he granted a particular interview with the press a few days ago, I think about 2 days ago. Let's take a listen. Omoyele Sowore speaking here.
Completed one leg of the arguments for today. The police came, charged me for offenses that were contrary to the police service rules 367, which says that no police officer should use the police office to carry out personal vendetta. That's pretty much how that was described. But the IG of police, the illegal IG of Police, I'm repeating it here again today, Kayode Egbetokun, is doing just that. We are here to end the charlatanism that has become Nigeria and public office and public service. So I'm following the police back to the hotel they provided for me. They call it hotel in there because tomorrow the judge will give a final ruling on bail. Even though it should never have happened that somebody of my status, a presidential candidate twice in this country, who, if elections were properly held, I'll be president today with full immunity, is being told that I will jump bail for offense of cyber crime. I even have another trial coming out on February 4th for the same offense. But in the country we found ourselves, I'm going to leave you with lawyers, very competent, radical, tireless, indefatigable lawyers to brief you with the rest. Yes, go ahead. I rejected the administrative bail of the police because I cannot, in good conscience, continue to participate in illegality. The courts have made it very clear that the police have no right to grant administrative bail that asks for civil servants to own, first and foremost, 100 million naira houses, which is a crime. That's corruption. To stand bail for me, who is an employer of labor. I'm a publisher of an internationally renowned news website. I have people who are hired in Nigeria and abroad. I'm not a civil servant. In fact, I'm an uncivil citizen who is against all kinds of corruption, and I've spent my entire life fighting against corruption. So to now ask me, to insult me that I should provide a level 17 director who had not, who had not gotten employment when I was fighting for democracy in 1992, to now ask the president to come and stand surety for me is the biggest insult. Even if President Bola Tinubu had appeared as my surety, I would have rejected that very laughable, frivolous, ridiculous, and I dare say stupid bail condition. If the court in its own wisdom decide that they want my passport in their coffers because it's a very special passport, that's a different issue. But we must continue to reject the impunity of the Nigerian police and their officers who will just invite you and then ask you to deposit your passport. I'm going to bring a level 17 civil servant. Even by the civil service rules, there is no level 17 officer. Because a level 17 officer in the civil service is a permanent secretary who is politically appointed by the president. So you expect such a person to come and stand surety for Sowore. I'm not being arrogant and I'm not bragging. But, you know, in 1992, when I was a student leader, Tinubu was a senator. And I was more powerful than him in the Nigerian society. So how dare them ask me? And I can guarantee you that at that time, Egbetokun probably had just joined the police and he was a sergeant, or that is if he has not forged his age. And so,
Omoyele Sowore there granted an interview with the press a few days ago. That was before the bail condition was being read by the judge handling the case.
Yeah.
So he spoke about the bail conditions was being given. Now it's been in the papers that he's been given 10 million naira bail.
You see, when you hear some of the pronouncements in our courts, you want to chuckle to yourself. Okay, you should go and provide a level 17 with property.
With property.
So how did he get it? So how did the level 17 officer? How much does he earn? Plus the new, what do you call this one? The new salary structure. A level 17 officer. I know that about the new salary structure. A level 17 officer in Oyo State will probably earn slightly above 400,000, 450. So let's say a level 17 officer at the federal level earns 650,000. So where did you get money to buy property in Abuja? If he's not pay free, if he's not stealing, where did he get money to buy property in any of the municipal areas in Abuja? And if you go and find out, some of them have properties in Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC. That's the core local government. They call it area council. they call local government, AMAC. Some of them have. So where would they get resources to procure that? Eh? So they just, the whole thing is ridiculous. But you see, Elisha is just doing what he knows how to do best.
Which is?
Rabble rousing, and he keeps.
But looking at what he was being charged for, cyber crime,
it's just to engage him.
there are speculations that it's just one of the tactics of the government to at least to witch hunt whoever is opposing them. Do you see this as the same thing?
Look, it is patently clear now that this is not an African thing. It's not a Nigerian thing. Look at what Donald Trump is doing all over the place. Will you ever think that we're going to have this kind of situation? And I'm not talking about immigration now. Take immigration out of it. Immigration, I don't want to talk about the immigration part of it, but the way is, cleaning up, the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the one they call the State Department, they call DOJ, Department of Justice, that we call Ministry of Justice. The way is cleaning everywhere out, including the military. You understand? I don't want this, I don't want that. And then, including issues that are constitutional. Including issues that he knows are constitutional. As what the judge has asked the defense, isn't this an unconstitutional order by the president? That's virtually the man has expressed his location as a judge. If a Nigerian judge said that, they will say he has ruled without hearing the case. So I think human nature, not everybody is civil. And one thing about the orientation of our security agencies is that that's where you're going to see the difference in the United States. They are not loyal to the state. They are loyal to government.
Okay.
That's the difference. That's a fundamental difference. In Chicago, where they are pursuing immigrants, the local police will say, we are a haven for immigrants. So we're going to protect the issued orders. Because we're going to go into hospitals and schools and say, resist them. Don't allow them in. Don't prevent them. Can you imagine? Don't allow them in, but don't prevent them from doing their job. Is that not an instruction to prevent them? Because we are a haven. So here, police. You see, we have to go back in time to I keep saying this. Nigeria police is the only one with a force behind its name. How can police be a force? Police force. What force are Nigeria? Police force. How can police be a force? Police is a service. Policing is service. Policing is not force. You want information from me? You cannot police without intelligence. Intelligence is information. And you're not going to manufacture it. You're going to get it from me. So how are you going to get information?
And you can't get that by force.
From me. How can police be force? It's the only police service that I know is done via force in the whole world. Go and check. Go and check. Nigeria Police Force. Who does that?
Do you feel the force in that name is affecting their mode of operation?
That is the way. You know the colonial police. The colonial police was part and parcel of the governance to ensure that people fell in line. And it is that same philosophy. It is that same mentality. Why must the police say police is your friend? Why do you say we have police? The posturing of the police.
Police is your friend. That statement amuses me all the time.
It
amuses me.
I lived and grew up around the police at a particular time. So I understand the psyche of the police. I know what the police will do and can do. So I know how to manage the police in this society. So that is the psyche of the police. The police is not on the side of the people. There are some people who are not supposed to be in the Nigerian police that are there. You will see them by their conduct that they are not a part of the Nigerian police because a few of them like that. You understand? There was one, I think DIG, Chris Omebe. Have you forgotten? They made sure the man did not become the IG because the man was going to affect the psyche because the leader is key. You understand?
Yeah.
Everybody had to fall in line with the psyche of the.
He has a ripple effect on all of them.
Swept all the DGs away and make sure the man never became IG. So that is, the leader is key. I mean, they must know the man's disposition, you understand? So he was not going to tolerate all of that. So the police, the mentality of the police, and what do we see police doing? 500,000 police. What do you see them doing? Carrying bags, holding umbrella. I saw somebody yesterday, you know. Yeah, I saw a musician, and he had I had to look at this Nigerian police, a musician, and they were holding cocked guns like this. There was a day I went to one corporation and I saw policemen. You know, they normally use Hilux and all of that, but when they go on United Nations operations, they give them the vehicles they use. So the vehicles they bring from UN operations are quite different. So I saw about 6 of it in the compound of that corporation. And I saw about 20 policemen. And I went into the office and said, what's happening here? They said one organization, Association of Nigerian Accountants, I'll be specific, was holding its week, national week. And they went and rented Nigeria police. And they were going about police, rented police for rent. If you want to go anywhere now, you can go and, I make bold to say, you can go and rent police. They don't arrest you or go to the headquarters and rent police. So 500,000 police. Well, some are holding umbrella. Some are holding the bags.
Some are carrying bags, yeah.
Some are carrying bags. Some are holding umbrella. Some are following individuals around. So where are the ones? And then go to the governor's lodge in Ibadan here, and all governors' residences. They have a mini barracks inside the governor's lodge where policemen are housed on rotation. Some follow around. Some are, you know. So that means nothing less than 40 policemen with one governor. They will be in his residence in Ibadan. They will be his residence in Abuja. They will also be his residence in Lagos. They will be his residence. I mean, so who is policing us?
Us.
They are not policing us. The police is not for you and I.
But they are our friends.
They are our friends.
Okay. It's still from the Daily Zone Solutions 93.9 FM. It's 3 minutes past 10. Let's move to another story now. We're talking about orders, and there is this one saying that LG Autonomy chairman not yet directed to open accounts. Investigation. This is something that ought to have been implemented since last year. And as we speak, the money meant for the local government is still being paid into the state coffers.
Yeah, you know, it's maneuvering. You make the laws, you make the pronouncements, we hinder implementation, and then we reach a compromise. So, they want them to open accounts in central bank. It's not as if they do not have accounts. They do have accounts.
They do.
Why must? Well, they want, of course, the reason why central bank, the federal government wants them to open central bank accounts is every disbursement
To monitor.
to be tracked. But can they even track that with their commercial bank accounts? They can. I think so. I mean, look, today everything is wired. All commercial banks are wired to the central bank. If anything considered to be suspicious, even on private and small accounts, happens, you will, the branch, whichever branch of a commercial bank it happens, the bank, the internal auditor will immediately get electronic word from the central bank. So not to talk of, bulk, but they want it done in the central bank.
But with this delayed strategy being played out by the governor and the local government chairman, do you see this?
The local government chairman have no hand in it. You know they would love to control their funds. You and I know that.
But they are yet to be instructed to go ahead.
Must they be instructed?
That's why they can't be absolved from it.
That tells you now that our local government chairmen are appendages of.
You know, we've always spoken about this thing. I mean, looking at let's have a review of most of these local government elections that have been held. You'll see that it is always the party in power at the top of that state that will clear all the seats, which tells a lot about the influence the sitting governor has in picking, I don't want to call it election, picking this local government chairman under the guise of LG elections. So they were always down to his tunes.
Let me say this. You see, the framers of our Constitution, in an attempt to get some things their way, how can you put two ridiculous things? They listed the local government in Nigeria, 707. They listed it in the Constitution. And beyond listing it, they even listed the headquarters. That's ridiculous. Believe you me. I don't believe. You see, we're trying to. The military thought they could decree unity. The military thought they could decree uniform development. So that is one of the things that happened. The local government reforms that we had in 1976, that's when it started. And then Babangida rounded everything up and then brought the presidential system of government even down to the local government. Presidential at the national, presidential at the state, and presidential. Look, ordinarily, the states should control their federal government. Honestly, all of this would not be happening. In the states, why must the Constitution say you must have only a social number of local governments and this is their headquarters? I don't think it is nice. Our federal union is warped. Look, people say Nigeria's unity is not negotiable. Nigeria was negotiated at various levels.
That unity was negotiated.
It was negotiated. What we have now is not what our founding fathers negotiated.
And in order to sustain the unity, it has to be negotiated again and again.
Yes, look, it's a union. This is a union. And the basic union we can liken it to is a marriage. And when a marriage, when people say, when people want to blame a party for the breakdown of a marriage, I tell people, it takes two to make it work. It equally takes two to make it fail.
Definitely.
It takes two to make it work. If it takes two to make it work, it usually takes two to make it fail. So when a marriage relationship breaks down, you can just solely blame one party. You understand? So, because keeping it a union together must be deliberate and intentional. You just don't want to take advantage at all times, because it will get to a period that things will just break down by itself, even without active efforts by the other party. Things will break down, but because things will stop working. So all of this, look at what the governments are doing. You can't blame them. You can't, believe me, in all honesty, you can't blame them. You want to be controlling the local governments from the federal. That's interference. Honestly, I don't like what the governors are doing, ambushing local government funds and all of that. But look, there are only two tiers of government in the federal union. The local governments are not federating units. And the moment you have control of finances, that means you are controlling. Who will the local government chairman now hold their allegiance to? Who guarantees their financial autonomy? They will say it's federal government, Abi. It's the federal government that is guaranteeing their financial autonomy. So who will they hold their allegiance to?
I understand now. I understand the picture so clearly.
So I don't think they should have found a more, yes, exigencies. The states were ambushing and all of that. But what led to that? What kind of uniform local government? Culturally, we are different. Let everybody evolve according to the culture of the, of the locality.
Now, going forward now, don't you feel that the federal government should probably do something to give them an ultimatum for these accounts to be opened?
Who would they give ultimatum? The states or the local government?
The local government chairman.
They will give ultimatum. In what capacity? In what capacity?
We have a pending
federal government will give
judgment from the Supreme Court.
Does the money to be dispensed to those accounts, does it belong to the federal government? It doesn't belong to the federal government. There's a sharing formula. This belongs to the state, this belongs to the federal government, this belongs to the states. And this belongs to the local government. So what ultimately, is it their resource that they're sharing? It doesn't belong to them.
But in order to uphold the judgment of the Supreme Court that says local government must have full autonomy and even financial autonomy too, so the money should be paid directly to them.
So what are the consequences? Is it prescribed? Not prescribed. Those funds does not belong to the federal government. Federal government cannot give any ultimatum to anybody. This is a federal union. You want to give ultimatum to who? To the local government? Are the local governments part of the federal government?
Unit.
Huh? If there is anything that belongs to the federal government at the local level, it is the municipal council areas in the federal capital territory, maybe 6 of them.
All right, it's 11 minutes
That
past
is the
10 now.
challenge. This is a union, and these things must be negotiated. You go and procure one judgment. A professor of constitutional law told me that if it was to be a sound panel that was put together, that judgment would not have. Okay, maybe it's in conflict with the constitutional provision for Jack. But they will say, well, the Supreme Court has, what do you call it?
But with the look of things, before we move away from it, with the look of things now, do you see that judgment of the Supreme Court coming to fruition, coming to play eventually?
Let the executive branch try to amend the constitution, that section of the constitution that says Jack. You will see the reaction. Should be the governors control those who are in the National Assembly, the Senate, the senators. They control who gets a ticket. So you vote for it, you are not going back to the Senate. You vote for it, you are not going back to the House of Reps.
They'll wait for you until your tenure is over and you come back to them.
Why are the state assemblies? There's a constitutional amendment that says financial autonomy to local government. When they bring it, you know it has to be ratified by the state. So when they come to the state assembly say we don't want autonomy.
Because they know the governor has the biggest hammer. All right, okay, let's move away to another story. Let's go to politics now. Now, Presidency, El-Rufai, trade words over governance position. Many people have been speaking concerning the governance and the party in power, especially Nasir El-Rufai, who happens to be a member of the ruling party too, and also Rotimi Amechi, the former governor of Rivers State, making some statements concerning the, how do I put it now, the interference of the ruling party in the affairs of the opposition parties. Let's take a listen to what Nasir El-Rufai had to say.
I was very active in the CPC. I was one of the leaders of the CPC before we merged into the APC. And all I know about partisan politics comes from that experience. But I want to say that, political parties are very, very important. I did not realize this until I became politically active. Because in our constitution, the only way we can contest for power is on the platform of political parties. Our constitution does not recognize independent candidates, even though we tried in our APC Committee on True Federalism to recommend that the constitution be amended to allow independent candidates. That has not happened yet, and I don't even know if it will ever happen. So political parties remain important. But what is the state of political parties today? I will give my own views of what I have seen in the last 2 years. The PDP, which is one of the largest and perhaps the oldest political party in this republic, is clearly targeted for destruction. It's a matter of time. There are internal mercenaries in the PDP that have been hired, paid, or otherwise motivated to destroy the party. So the party is on its way to the grave. Okay? And it's most unfortunate because His Excellency, the former Vice President, was explaining how politicians came together, essentially, put aside their differences to drive away the military. Most of these politicians ended up in the PDP. So the PDP actually represented the best of our politicians that fought for restoration of democracy. Forget those that make the most noise, but ran away from the country. Those that went to prison, those that were detained, all ended up in the PDP. Those were the real politicians that faced the military. But today, none of the founding fathers of the PDP can recognize it. Labour Party, again, targeted for destruction. And it's almost certain, the last time I had a conversation with Peter Obi himself, he admitted to me that he doesn't know what is happening in the party that he contested for president. So there seems to be a project to destroy all the opposition political parties. And the only option for the opposition, in my view, is to put aside their differences and come together and create a broad platform that will do the driving of the military again, because we are there almost. So, Your Excellency, we need your experience and skills.
Nasser El-Rufai there, speaking like that. I was actually surprised when I heard that. I mean, somebody, a staunch member of the APC, which is the ruling party, but coming out clearly to say that there is a project, there is an ongoing project to destroy all the opposition parties. He went ahead and he said that some people have been paid and planted in the opposition parties in order to drive them to their graves. Now, it's very obvious now. See where PDP is, see where Labour Party is. What do you make out of the statement?
You see, he touched on the fundamental flaw in the formation of our political parties without saying so directly. He said, in reference to the PDP, that when PDP was being formed, he said those people that coalesced, G34, that coalesced into the group that became PDP were essentially politicians whose vision was to drive the military away.
Back to the barracks.
So, that presents a challenge. When you have not driven the military away, the centrifugal forces will now come into operation. You have achieved the objective. So if they planned, okay, after driving the military away, what do we do? Because they had disparate opinions, fundamentally so. Look, and what happened to the APC? How did APC come to be? CPC, an ultra-conservative group, led by an ultra-conservative Buhari, in bed with ACN, populated by non-progressives in quotes now, because everything has to be in quotes. And then, you know, the NPDP. Those who are conservatives too, not ultra.
NPDP.
And then the conservatives from AMPP or whatever they call that one. So, what was the goal? Drive PDP out of power. So after PDP has been driven out of power, what next? So that is a fundamental flaw in itself. What is the driving force? Drive PDP out of power. Drive APC out of power. Grab power. What then do you do with the power? You saw how Saraki became Senate president. You know, it is all driven by personal ambition. When Buhari was completing his term, Tinubu came and said, it is my turn, Emilokan. What's the meaning of that? We're on, you know, all these things boils down to, during the campaigns, did we hear about any manifesto? Did we hear about philosophy that will underpin governance? And you know the funny thing? What were the issues? Religion. Where is it from? Emilokan and ethnicity. And you know the funny thing? The media, we were helping it. We were the one, you know, where he said this, he said that, he said this. Rather than asking them questions, are they the issues? What are the issues? What determined that in spite of the character
We didn't
of
engage
a Trump,
them enough.
we didn't engage them at all. People will come here and they say, look, what's your platform? What are you going to do when you get to the National Assembly? They will say, I will do water. I will do ICT center. Is that legislation? You understand? So, that's a fundamental flaw. But I believe, as a student of history and political science, that this is a process of evolution. The people don't own the party, People are looking for what to take from the party rather than put in the party. In this thing that you just showed up verify, he went on to say that they deliberately registered members, 16 million, and they decided that if every month a member pays 100 naira, that is 1.5 billion, it should be enough to run the party at the state level. And if there's any emergencies, bring 200 naira, bring 500 naira, according to for the party. No, that does not happen anymore. People are looking for what to take at the party and from the party. Not people don't want to add value. People just want to take.
Now let's look at the fact that he said that there are people planted in these opposition parties in order to cause chaos there. How credible is that? Judging by the look of things.
Okay, let's look at PDP for instance. People who are tearing PDP apart, are they not PDP members? He himself, maybe he was a PDP member. He's still an APC member, and he's talking like that. But he said the party has left him. Why did he stand in the same location? You understand? He said the party has left him. He says it's a one-man show. And somebody in the presidency, I think that was Buala. Buala said, and I totally agree with him. If El-Rufai was the minister of power today, stomping around, issuing threats to the discourse and busy. If El-Rufai was the minister of power today, and he was minister of power in 8 years, believe you me, you know he can step on toes and step on faces.
Definitely.
He will get things done. And the only reason I believe he was blocked is that he will become like an operator, a successful operator that produces results, and that will put him in good stead for the presidency. And they cooked up a security report with the help of that man, the NSA, and the other elements in the presidency. So, of course, and he knows he's been governor. He has information. He has the reach. He will know who did what. And he says Fulani men don't forget. He is the one that said it. Yes,
he said it, yeah.
So he's not likely to forget.
So he actually knew what he was saying when he said that people have been planted in the opposition parties.
There's no need to. They have been located there.
He went ahead. He said he was even asking Peter Obi that what's happening with the party. That Peter Obi said he knows nothing about what is happening.
Peter Obi couldn't have known anything about Labour because he just ran on the platform from Labour. You understand? I always told you, I mean, that's the headquarters of Labour. I am very, very close to them. There are three groups. The original Labour Party. It was Professor Patu told me, I spoke with him twice, that asked Labour to own the party. That was how Labour unions, NLC, and I think it's basically NLC. TUC is not actively. So the original Labour Party, they never relinquished their hold on the structure of the party like this. And then the Labour Union, and then the big, obedience, and then the big tent. The obedience were the rabble rouser. The obedience were the people that coalesced from the toll gate, and then the obedience globally. You understand? They're the ones that just pick tickets. People have been giving tickets, so you must have noticed some of the judgments. People already had the tickets, and then they took the tickets from there. Those people are back in there. So Obi was just floating. Look, when Obi came to Oyo State and they went to Ogbomoso, he asked the gubernatorial candidate of his Labour Party to get out from his car. The man told me so here, live in this studio. Because there was no. Okay, Obi was presidential candidate of the Labour Party. It's why Ighodalo and that woman, Aisha Yusuf, yeah. They were the signatories to the account of the campaign. Is it why Ighodalo a member of Labour? How did he become a signatory to the account of the campaign?
Now, if Nasiru El-Rufai, a member of the APC, said that, and Rotimi Amechi, who is also an APC member, saying that people should be ready to defend their vote. Like, according to what he said, be ready to defend your vote. Amechi tells Nigerians, says politicians kill, maim to remain in power.
That's not new. We know that politicians kill. But if you allow yourself to be used by politicians...
But look, I want us to look at it from the angle it's coming.
Okay, let's look at Amechi. Amechi was member House of Assembly. Courtesy Sir Peter Odili, who he was working with. He became member of House of Assembly and he became Speaker for 8 years. He became Governor for 8 years. He became Minister for 8 years. 8 times 3, 24. How old is Amity? He's not 60 years. He has spent 24 years straight unbroken.
Unbroken since 1999.
He wanted to be president. He wanted to be president. So, look, those people they are disconnected. Doesn't much you know what's happening in town. Where does he live?
But it's not sounding as if he's on our side now.
Because he's out of power. If Rufai were to be Minister of Power today, stomping around, he would have been the most visible minister.
Definitely.
He had been offered a portfolio and he had developed a plan, a 7-year plan to get Nigeria out of darkness, as it were. And he knew that if he succeeded, that was going to put other aspirants on a bad footing and stop him. So, all of this is, look, don't think that those people you saw there, just a conference, don't think they're on our side, though. Politicians can never be on our side.
They can never be on our side.
Unless we put them to task. I keep telling us and you here that we must organize ourselves and ask questions. Politicians come, and because I know him, there was a time there was one man, there was a time they were planning some mischief in this state, and people I said, look, I'm not going to be in support of this, no matter how close you people are to me, either biologically or in terms of relation. I'm not going to support this. You understand? Do people take principle stands here? No. All those who see that you are complaining that the government is bad, they are waiting for their own turn. As soon as somebody
they join to that, move to that side.
In one particular state, a cousin of mine became an attorney general. And somebody said, go to him. I said, go to him for what? He said, ask him to give you a brief. I said, I'm not a lawyer. Now, if you take the brief from him and give it to a lawyer, I said, I said, where I was raised, we don't behave like that. I go and collect a legal brief. I'm not a lawyer. Then you collect it, and I said, So everybody's just looking for, with that, people, no couples, no principles, no nothing. Money. Let it just be money.
All right.
And myself. Are you thinking of the next man? Are you thinking of us? When people park on the highway, I say, if you're thinking of others, you won't do this.
Definitely. Okay.
So those politicians, they're just looking for power.
So they are just pretending to be on our side.
They are not pretending to be on our side, though. They can't pretend now. Do you think they are pretending? They are not pretending.
All right, comrade.
Why is Atiku all over the place? Atiku knows that's his last gubernatorial bid, a perennial presidential candidate since 1993.
All right, comrade, thank you very much for being a part of the program.
Maybe he wants to be Nigeria's Abraham Lincoln.
But if he's unable to get it this time, age won't be on the side.
And can you imagine? That's the Rufai sitting with Atiku there. Rufai that wrote in his accidental civil servant that Atiku Abubakar had marabouts who are assuring him.
He even said something about, in a subtle way, about him at that conference too.
So that tells you, politicians, if they hold a gun to each other's head today, tomorrow, this one will the power will bring them together.
All right, comrade, our time is fast spent on the program this morning. We'll be back again Monday morning for a fresh edition of the program. Thank you very much, comrade.
My pleasure, always riding with you, brother.
Wishing you very well. What are your plans for the weekend as well?
Work and rest.
Work and rest.
Work and rest.
Okay. Rest is very important, actually.
Work, rest, worships.
Okay. All right, we'll be back again, like I said, earlier on Monday for a fresh edition from the Daily Zone Solutions 93.9 FM. My name is Adedamola Lafewa. Good morning once again.
I will try a leg and She's a rich girl, she don't drive.